We're always looking for the next big thing, right? The new app, the latest life hack that's going to make everything perfect. But what if the real secrets to a successful, peaceful life aren't new at all? What if they've been hiding in plain sight for centuries, passed down in ancient wisdom? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever had a random itch on your hand and maybe an older relative joked, "Ooh, money's coming your way"? It sounds kind of silly, right? A fun little piece of folklore. But it does get you thinking. What other secrets are hiding in these old sayings?
Because honestly, an itchy hand is one thing. But the real treasure here is that this same wisdom, this ancient way of looking at the world, offers really profound answers to the biggest, toughest questions we all face. And that's the journey we're going on right now. Okay, so first up, let's explore that intriguing little idea. Is there actually a secret sign that wealth is headed your way? It's really interesting when you think about it. Back in the day, people paid super close attention to these small, everyday things. In a world with a lot of uncertainty, these little signs offered hope, a connection to a bigger plan. So, an itch on the back of your neck or your right hand, that wasn't just a minor annoyance. No, it was seen as a whisper from the universe, a hint that good fortune was just around the corner. But okay, let's pivot from looking for signs to finding some real substance. Because true power doesn't come from waiting for a signal, right? It comes from actively building a better life using timeless wisdom. And here it is, the absolute core of it all. This idea is so powerful. Basically, the world outside you is just a mirror of the world inside you. If you're craving peace and beauty in your life, the work, the change has to start with your own thoughts and your daily routines. So, how do we actually do that? Well, this ancient wisdom actually gives us a pretty clear roadmap. First, you train your mind to focus on the good stuff that happens each day and actively let the bad stuff go. It's kind of like what modern psychology calls cognitive reframing. Second, there's this idea of trust, just believing that what's meant for you will find you. That alone can be a huge relief for anxiety. Third, finding real peace through a spiritual connection, sort of a deep form of mindfulness. And finally, the belief in the power of prayer, that it's a tool you can use to actually help shape your own destiny. Now, these principles are totally universal, and you can see them reflected so beautifully in the wisdom of historical figures like Hazrat Ali, who was just renowned for his incredible mind and his profound insights. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't about faking it or pretending you're not hurting. Not at all. It's about tapping into a source of strength that is so deep, so resilient, that even when you hit rock bottom, you still have the power to choose how you respond. That, right there, is what true strength, true invincibility looks like. And it's one thing to hear these amazing quotes, but it's something else entirely to see that kind of wisdom in action. So let's dig into a legendary story about problem solving that seems to completely defy simple math. It all kicks off with this number, 17. There were 17 camels left in a will to 3 sons. And here was the problem. The will demanded they be divided in ways that were, well, mathematically impossible without, hurting the camels. And here's the absolutely brilliant solution. You can't divide 17 cleanly by 2, 3, or 9. It just doesn't work. So what does Hazrat Ali do? He temporarily adds one of his own camels to the group, making the total 18. And just like that, the whole problem unlocks. The first son gets half of 18, which is 9. The second gets a third, that's 6. The third gets a ninth, that's 2. Now for the magic trick. What's 9 plus 6 plus 2? It's 17. The original number of camels is divided perfectly, and that extra camel, it just goes back to its owner. I mean, talk about a masterclass in thinking outside the box. This kind of outside-the-box thinking wasn't just for solving clever puzzles. It was a whole way of life. So let's look at how these principles were lived out by historical leaders, giving us timeless lessons in compassion and responsibility. So picture this. A powerful ruler, Caliph Hazrat Umar, is walking the streets of his city late at night. No guards, no entourage. Just him, alone, trying to see how his people are really doing. And then, one night, he hears the sound of children crying coming from a small home. What do you think he found? He goes in, he asks the mother what's wrong, and this is the devastating answer she gives him. She has no food. She's boiling water in an empty pot, just creating the illusion of cooking, desperately hoping her starving children will fall asleep, believing that a meal is on its way.
Absolutely heartbroken, the caliph rushes to the state treasury. But he doesn't send a servant. He hauls a heavy sack of flour and supplies on his own back. And when someone offers to help him, to carry it for him, he says this profound thing, that on the day of judgment, nobody else can carry his burden for him. He, and he alone, is responsible. Now, for a story that just perfectly shows how character can completely triumph over prejudice, it's about an old woman who really disliked the Prophet Muhammad, even though she'd never even met him. So the story goes, he sees this woman struggling with her bags. He doesn't say who he is, he just walks up, picks up her luggage, and starts carrying it for her. As they walk, she's telling this kind stranger how wonderful he is, and then she warns him to stay away from this man named Mohammed. So when they finally get to where she's going, he gently tells her who he is, and the woman is just stunned. His actions, his incredible kindness and humility, it completely shattered everything she thought she knew. She realized that someone with that kind of character could only be speaking the truth. Okay, so we've looked at these incredible stories, these wise words, and clever solutions. Let's pull it all together. What is the actual secret to a truly successful life? We started this whole thing off with a question about a physical sign, right? Some external signal that good things are coming. But is that really where success is found? This really puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? On one side, you have the fleeting signage, an itch on your hand, a temporary feeling. It's external, it comes and goes. But on the other side, that's where the real stuff is, the enduring sources of a good life that we just saw in action. Timeless character, deep justice and compassion, and that incredible inner resilience. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. Real success, the kind that brings you deep, lasting peace, it's not about waiting for good things to happen to you. It's about building the character, the wisdom, and the compassion to create a meaningful life, no matter what your circumstances are. So as we wrap this up, the real question isn't whether your hand is going to itch. The real question is which of these profound principles, resilience, compassion, justice, service, which one will you choose to actively bring into your own life starting today? Thanks so much for joining me.